Hello, you're watching movie Snapshot scenes, and this is the summary of Psycho, 1960. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Phoenix, Arizona. A hot, ordinary afternoon. Inside a quiet hotel room, Marion Crane, a young secretary, lies in the arms of her lover, Sam Loomis. Their relationship is passionate, but tainted. Sam is divorced and drowning in debt, and Marion is tired of hiding. She wants more. She wants a future. And then, fate hands her a way out. At work, Marion is entrusted with $40,000 in cash, money meant for a real estate deal. As she holds the envelope, something shifts inside her. It's more than temptation. It's opportunity. Marion doesn't go to the bank. She runs without telling Sam, without a plan. She packs her things, grabs the money, and drives west, toward a new life where she and Sam can finally be free. But guilt follows close behind. As the miles stretch, her mind begins to spiral. She imagines voices, her boss discovering the theft, her co-workers whispering, the police on her trail. Rain pours down. Her headlights catch only shadows. Then she sees it, a flickering neon sign, Bates Motel. She pulls in, drenched and exhausted. The motel seems forgotten by time, tucked away off the highway. Behind it, on a hill, looms a tall, eerie Victorian house. There, she meets Norman Bates, shy, soft-spoken, gentle. He invites her in for a modest dinner. As they speak, Norman opens up. He talks of his life, his love for taxidermy, and most of all, his mother. He says she's ill, controlling, harsh, but he can't leave her. He never could. Their conversation takes a strange turn. Marion sees a reflection of herself in Norman, a life trapped by duty, by guilt. That night, she decides to return the money and fix what she broke. She writes it all in her journal, a confession, a resolution. She steps into the bathroom, turns on the shower, and lets the water wash over her, perhaps her sins with it. She doesn't hear the door open. She doesn't see the shadow behind the curtain. The blade flashes, and everything goes silent. Marion Crane is gone. No phone calls, no letters, no trace. Days pass, and concern begins to grow. Sam Loomis, unaware of her theft or her fate, continues his work in Fairvale. Meanwhile, Marion's sister, Leigh Crane, grows anxious. Marion was never reckless, never the kind to vanish without a word. Then, a new figure steps into the puzzle, Arbogast, a private investigator hired to recover the missing $40,000. He's sharp, persistent, and quickly suspects that Marion didn't disappear. She ran. His search leads him to the outskirts of town, to a quiet stretch of road, and to the Bates Motel. Norman greets him with his usual shy smile, nervous but polite. Arbogast asks about recent guests. Norman hesitates, stammers, then admits a woman was there, used a false name, paid in cash, stayed one night, and left. But something feels off. Norman's story doesn't sit right. Arbogast asks to speak with Norman's mother, who Norman claims lives in the house up on the hill, but Norman grows defensive. She's not feeling well, he insists. She won't see anyone. Unconvinced, Arbogast leaves, but not far. Later, he returns alone, determined to speak to the woman he glimpsed. Through the upstairs window, he sneaks into the house, climbing the stairs quietly, step by step. At the top, he calls out. No answer. He steps closer to the bedroom. Suddenly, from the shadows, a figure lunges forward. A knife flashes. Arbogast falls, tumbling backward down the staircase, blood pouring from his face. Another secret, buried. Back in Fairvale, Leigh grows desperate. She meets with Sam, and together they begin to suspect the truth is far more sinister than theft. 2 people missing, and both roads lead to one place, Bates Motel. Up on the hill, behind dark windows, the house watches. Norman grows restless, tense. He speaks to his mother in hushed tones. She refuses to leave the room. She refuses to be taken away. And Norman, sweating and trembling, promises, "I won't let them hurt you, Mother." But someone is already watching, and the truth is much darker than anyone suspects. Worried and determined, Leigh Crane refuses to wait any longer. With Sam Loomis by her side, she heads to the Bates Motel, hoping for answers about Marion, about Arbogast, about what truly happened on that quiet stretch of highway. They arrive to find Norman Bates alone, polite as ever, but clearly nervous. His eyes dart, his hands shake. He insists no one matching Marion's description has stayed there. He says Arbogast left long ago. Lies layered with a smile. Sam keeps Norman talking, pressing him with questions, while Leigh quietly slips away, toward the looming, eerie house on the hill. The doors creak open under her hand. The house feels frozen in time. Dusty furniture, old photographs, and the chilling presence of a woman long unseen. She climbs the stairs. Room by room, she searches, but there is no sign of life, only the ghost of one. Downstairs, Sam pushes Norman harder. The tension cracks. Norman strikes him, knocking him unconscious. Now, Leigh is alone in the house. She descends into the darkness of the basement, some instinct drawing her down. There, in the quiet gloom of the fruit cellar, she sees an old woman sitting in a chair, her back turned. Leigh calls to her. No answer. She reaches out and turns the chair. The corpse of Mrs. Bates grins back at her. Mummified body, dressed, preserved, eyes hollow, mouth frozen in a silent scream. Leigh screams too. From behind, Norman bursts in, wearing a dress, a wig, a knife in hand. But before he can strike, Sam arrives just in time, wrestling him to the ground. The truth unravels. Norman Bates is his mother, or at least he believes he is. Years ago, Norman murdered his real mother and her lover in a jealous rage. Unable to cope, he preserved her body and her personality. Slowly, the line between Norman and mother blurred. When Norman grew attracted to a woman, Marion, mother grew jealous and deadly. Now, Norman is in custody, and the house on the hill is silent once more, but what lurks in the mind of Norman Bates may never be quiet again. Norman Bates sits alone in a sterile white room, silent, still, smiling. Outside, the truth is being pieced together by doctors, detectives, and those left behind. The mystery is solved, but the horror has only begun to settle. Not in the motel, not in the house, but in the mind. A psychiatrist explains what the police could not. Years ago, after murdering his mother and her lover, Norman Bates was overcome by guilt and grief. To erase what he had done, he created a new reality. One where she never left. One where she still spoke to him, still guided him. He began to preserve her voice, her habits, her jealousy, until they lived inside him. Two minds sharing one body. But mother was stronger. When Norman felt desire, especially toward Marion, mother would awaken, possess him, and do what she thought necessary to protect her son. Even kill. Marion's death. Arbogast's death. All at the hands of mother, while Norman watched from the shadows of his mind, unaware or unwilling to face what he had done. Now, he is gone. Only she remains. Back in his cell, Norman hears voices, the inner monologue of mother, now fully in control. She speaks sweetly, softly, rationalizing everything. It wasn't Norman's fault, she says. He wouldn't hurt a fly. She plans to be still, to be calm, to play the part of a helpless old woman, so no one will suspect her ever again. Norman's face twitches, but he doesn't move. He sits quietly, smiling, as a fly lands on his hand. He doesn't swat it. He wants them to see, to think why she wouldn't even harm a fly. The screen fades slowly and the final image appears. Norman's face, overlaid with the skull-like grin of his dead mother. One person, two lives, no escape. The murders are solved. The headlines fade, but the scars remain. Sam Loomis and Leigh Crane return home, grieving, changed. The truth they uncovered didn't bring peace. It only deepened the tragedy. Marion is gone, not just murdered, but erased by madness. Leigh replays every moment, every decision. Could she have stopped it? Could she have saved her sister? But there are no answers, only silence. Grief hangs heavy, clinging like fog. In the eyes of the public, Norman Bates becomes legend, a symbol of madness wearing a smile. The quiet boy behind the counter, the devoted son, the harmless hotel manager. Beneath it all, a killer, but not a monster. A man broken by guilt, loneliness, and a love that curdled into obsession. The Bates Motel is shut down. The house on the hill stands empty, windows staring like blind eyes over the highway. Locals avoid the road. Travelers take other routes. The name Bates becomes a warning whispered to strangers. But the true horror isn't the murders. It's how close it all felt. A small motel. A young woman, running from her mistakes. A charming man with sad eyes. Anyone could have stopped there. Anyone could have trusted him. And that's what lingers. In coffee shops, people retell the story. In bedrooms, women double lock their doors. In hospitals, doctors debate, was Norman evil or simply sick? And in a cold cell, deep in an institution far from the world, Norman Bates sits in silence. But it's not really Norman anymore. Mother is always with him now. Her voice soothing, proud, possessive. She speaks to the walls, to the doctors, to the silence. Her son is gone, but she survived because she was the strong one, because she loved him enough to kill for him, because she'll never let him go. And maybe, just maybe, she was there from the beginning. The world has moved on. New crimes are committed. New headlines replace old ones. But the story of Norman Bates, the quiet motel clerk with a fractured mind, never truly fades. It lingers in shadows, in mirrors, in every creaking motel along forgotten highways. Behind the bars of a padded cell, Mother watches the world through Norman's eyes. Her voice is soft now, calculated, careful. She plays the part well, the sweet, harmless old woman who wouldn't hurt a fly, and no one suspects, her the doctors observe. They take notes. They try to reach Norman, but he is gone, buried beneath years of delusion, regret, and control. In his place sits a hollow shell, possessed by the voice that once rocked him to sleep. They think I did it. They think I'm dangerous, she whispers. But I know better. I'll be good. I won't even swat at that fly. That will prove I'm not even capable of harm. She smiles. Not Norman's smile, hers. And in that smile lies the essence of Psycho. It's not just a story of murder. It's a story of identity, how fragile it is, how easily broken. Norman wasn't born evil. He was shaped, twisted by grief, by guilt, by an unhealthy love that never let him grow. The real horror isn't the knife. It's the quiet breakdown of a man who couldn't separate himself from the voice that defined him. Outside, the Bates house remains, abandoned, towering on its lonely hill. The windows still watch. The walls still whisper. No one goes near. But inside, dust settles like secrets. The empty rooms feel full. The air is heavy. Because stories like Norman's don't die. They echo. They remind us that the face we show the world isn't always the one behind the curtain. Sometimes the scariest monsters aren't monsters at all. They're us. Ordinary, lonely, watching, waiting, and smiling.